Hello, and welcome back to Technology Integration to Support ELL Students. Once again, I'm Jessie Jackwitz, the school library teacher at Arch Street School. Welcome to Module 2, which is Effectively Integrating Technology for ELL Students. A great resource for supporting you in integrating technology into your classroom is a book named Integrating Technology, a School-Wide Framework to Enhance Learning by Sarah Gilmore and Katie Rose Dios. According to Gilmore and Dios, there are 3 strategies for integrating technology into the classroom. Technology may be integrated into a self-contained lesson to support student learning, aligning with core objectives, but typically not extending beyond that lesson. For instance, using video calling or coding to enhance the learning process. Embedded integration involves incorporating technology into daily classroom activities or student learning experiences, such as utilizing digital journals or collaborative platforms to enhance the ongoing learning process without necessarily producing a final digital product for sharing. And multi-lesson projects involve teachers and students participating in interconnected lessons where technology and content knowledge are gradually developed over time. And that will facilitate the creation of a final project, which could range from a web page to a performance and typically aligns with assessed outcomes. Gilmore and Dios created the Integrate approach in order to support teachers in all 3 types of technology integration. In their book, they provide this 6-step approach to planning for technology integration. Their hope is that teachers stay focused on planning for core learning while also planning for technology tools to support that core learning. As you can see, this approach has 6 steps. We're going to go through each one separately. Gilmore and Dios created this for supporting teachers. They also offer a companion resource to support reflection and forward thinking. One piece of this companion resource is a discussion, planning, and reflection framework surrounding this approach. They provide the following questions to help teachers at each step of the planning process. This part of the companion resource is linked in the resources module of our Google Classroom. For step 1, which is identify core learning, they offer the following questions to guide your thinking. What specifically do you want your students to learn? Is your purpose to help students acquire knowledge, understandings, or skills? What are the learning objectives in your general or technology curriculum that you plan to cover? Could technology be useful in supporting or enhancing communication, collaboration, or the construction of understanding? What specific needs, barriers, and strengths do your students face that might be best addressed with technology? Step 2 is outlining the process. They suggest the following questions to guide your thinking. Over what period of time should this learning take place? How could you find out at the end of the learning process whether your students have learned what you wanted them to learn? Is the core learning best assessed in terms of the process of the learning or the product of the learning? What learning engagements would enable your students to achieve the planned core learning? Technology tools and approaches could you use to enhance these learning engagements or the learning process? Step 3 is plan and scaffold. The questions they suggest for guiding your thinking in this step are: what scaffolding and prior knowledge will your students need to be successful in meeting the core learning objectives? How would you normally plan to teach this core learning? How will your process need to evolve to reflect the integration of technology? What additional technology-specific knowledge, skills, or understandings will your students need to be able to use the technology tools you have chosen? How will you assess what prior technology knowledge, understanding, or skills your students already have? How could you introduce and scaffold the development of technology-specific learning? How can you give your students an opportunity to explore the technology in a low-stakes capacity before engaging in core learning? Step 4 is to troubleshoot and try it out. Again, their suggestions are: which portions of the planned learning do you feel least confident about? What technology-specific problems could you imagine occurring? What steps can you take to try your technology ahead of time? Do you have a backup plan in case the technology doesn't work? What are your expectations for student behavior with the technology during the learning process? What potential exists for the misuse of technology? Step 5 is titled Live the Learning. The questions they suggest to guide your thinking in this step are: what observations could you make during the learning to inform your reflection later? How will you communicate your expectations for behavior to the students? How could you get help or support during the learning if you face technology issues? And of course, step 6 is to reflect. The questions they suggest to guide your thinking in this step are: to what extent was the planned process successful in addressing the stated core learning? To what extent was technology helpful for students in meeting the core learning? What further scaffolding would students need in the future to be successful in the core learning and in the use of technology? And was the technology integration worthwhile in terms of teacher and student focus versus outcome? Now that we've discussed some steps for technology integration, we are going to complete our first activity. As we talked about in Module 1, there are 3 types of digital learning resources: digital academic content tools, digital productivity tools, and digital communication tools. We're going to spend some time researching the many options available in all 3 categories. In your Google Classroom, in Module 2, you will find a Google form, which has the following 6 questions and prompts. What digital academic tool has the capability to support ELL students in your classroom? Explain how and why. What digital productivity tool has the capability to support ELL students in your classroom? Explain how or why. And what digital communication tool has the capability to support ELL students in your classroom? Explain how or why. You'll want to do some research before you go in to answer these questions in the Google form. And there is a blank page just like this linked in Module 2 if you'd like to print it out and to take notes before you fill out your Google form. As an example, I have completed one set of these 3 prompts. So for a digital academic content tool that could support ELL students, I have found the Common Lit Digital Library. Common Lit Digital Library has hundreds of free, standards-aligned informational and literary texts written originally in Spanish. It also has annotation tools, read aloud options, and a guided reading mode. Common Lit offers digital translation in over 30 languages. For digital productivity tool, I have found Read and Write for Google Chrome, which is an extension that provides literacy support, including translator tools, picture dictionaries, text-to-speech, vocabulary list builders, talk and type, and much more. And for a digital communication tool, I have suggested Book Creator, which is an app that's been translated into 10 languages, but also has speech to text, video captioning, and audio transcript in 120 different languages. With Book Creator, educators can easily incorporate the 4 language domains of reading, writing, speaking, and listening. There are some resources for researching DLRs available to you. Common Sense Education is a great place to start. My Digital Chalkboard and OER Commons are also great. And the EdSurge Product Index by EdSurge is great. So these slides will be linked in Module 2 of your Google Classroom, so you may refer back to this slide for these resources. You may pause the video now to complete your research, or you may finish the video and then go to both activities. Because our second activity is digging a little deeper into one of the DLRs that you have suggested. You're going to choose one of the 3 DLRs that you researched in Activity 1 and use steps 1 to 3 of the Integrate approach to plan for integrating that specific technology into your lessons. You can choose either a self-contained lesson, an embedded integration, or a multi-lesson project. This form is also linked in our Google Classroom. You may open it in DocHub and fill it digitally, or you may print a copy and then scan your printed version and upload it back into our Google Classroom. Once you have finished those two activities, the end of Module 2 will be a reflection. And the two questions are: what concerns do you have about integrating technology into your classroom for the support of ELL students? And what do you foresee as barriers to integrating technology into your classroom for the support of ELL students? This completes Module 2, and I will see you in Module 3. Thank you.